This is my second reflection post for Info 267 International Children's Literature. Please forgive me because my thoughts kind of go all over the place for this post. So my first random thought is the exhibition that was talked about in the Arabic Language Children's Literature Project. The fact that it was scheduled to come down in March 2020, I consider everything that happened in March 2020. I'd be really curious to know what happened to the exhibition after that, whether it went down on time and where it is now. Um, as far as Australia goes, I think it sounds like it's going through an identity crisis, but it's still very much so influenced by the UK from post-colonialism by trying to be above genre fiction and continuing this idea that the only literature worth reading is literary fiction. That strikes me as a very UK academic idea. I actually think that American academics got this attitude from them. And as someone who has always preferred to read genre fiction, such as fantasy, romance, and horror, it's one that frankly upsets me, especially since it is something that would be ignoring the indigenous population and all of their stories that could also be purely Australian. Um, and that goes along with some of the issues mentioned in the article on identifying inclusion. If Australian literary agents and our publishing companies are still having this romanticized view of the UK and continuing her literary traditions where only literary works are worthwhile, they're not going to recognize or publish anything that goes beyond those very white Eurocentric ideas. Um, One trend that absolutely drives me batty is the rewriting of English language novels to remove anything that gives them their unique identity, including the loss of slang terms. I've always been puzzled and irritated by this trend ever since the release of the first Harry Potter book. Yes, I know J.K. Rowling is very problematic, but this is still my best example. In the UK, the title is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I never understood why the title was changed, other than, a basic fear that the American audience would be unable to understand or connect with it. And I find that attitude extremely condescending. I have more faith in children to be able to accept, alongside a wizarding world that is beneath the surface, everything about the book that makes it British. If a book is written by an Australian author, set it in Australia, meant to be like set in Australia or meant to be Australian in nature, then by all means, keep it Australian. Don't rewrite it to be American. And for heaven's sakes, have a little bit more faith. We're a melting pot of cultures. We always have been. If we can accept fantastical worlds, spaceships, and monsters, we can accept anything that isn't meant to be American, which is actually white Eurocentric American. But yeah, then so in my opinion, to answer the prompt, yes, I do think this domination of the global market is a problem. Children and teens should not be thinking that the only ways to live their lives are either American or British in nature. It goes back to that single story in Mirrors versus Windows. Everyone benefits from having a wider international market. American Americans and Brits would certainly benefit from having a worldview expanded from thinking their way of living is the default way to live. So having that window into other cultures, and for those cultures beyond the weird to have mirrors to see themselves in. I just think everybody wins at that point. So thank you.